begin, please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Mr. Fujirus will bring the invocation.
Please join me. Heavenly Father, we come to you tonight, thanking you for the protections you've given us this week and the beautiful weather. And Lord, I just pray that you offer us guidance, help us with our decisions tonight and all that we do to protect the city and to guide it into the future. And for all these things we pray in your name. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Mark. I will call this November 12th, 2024 Springdale City Council meeting to order and ask the city clerk to call the roll.
Brian Powell.
Here.
Amelia Taldo.
Here.
Jeff Watson. Mike Overton. Mike Lawson.
Here.
Rex Bailey.
Present.
Randall Harriman.
Here.
Mark Fujirus.
Here.
Ernest Kate.
Here. We do have a quorum. As you can see, the mayor is not here tonight, so I would entertain a motion to elect a pro tem to run the meeting.
I elect Brian Powell.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. All right, Mr. Powell, the meeting is yours. I am told that you'll need to stay at your seat for purposes of voting. So, thank you.
All right. Thank you, everybody. We are now to item 4 for comments from citizens. This is the portion of the meeting where the council will hear brief comments from citizens. With something that's not on the agenda tonight, no action will be taken, but all comments will be taken under advisement. So do we have anybody in the audience that needs to come speak on an item that is not on the agenda for tonight? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to item 5, which is approval minutes. Council, I know we've had opportunity to read the minutes. If there are no changes, I would entertain a motion for approval.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Thank you. Procedural motions, what's the pleasure of the council?
I move for both A and B.
Second.
We have a motion for A and B. Call for the vote.
Carry 7-0.
All right, thank you. Next, we're at item 7, Planning Commission Report and Recommendation by Patrick Christie, Director of Planning and Community Development.
Okay, where am I pointing? Wait, there's if it's turned on first. Okay, the first item is a replat of lots 7 through 10 of Block 3 of College Heights Edition. What we're doing is consolidating 3 tracks into one track that will be Track 7A. Planning Commission reviewed this replat, recommends approval of the title of the ordinance, reads an ordinance accepting the replat of lots 7 through 10, Block 6, College Heights Edition to the City of Springdale, Arkansas, declaring an emergency.
Move the ordinance be passed and approved.
Okay, we have a motion for pass and approve. We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion on this? This will be a call for the vote.
Carry 7-0. Does have an emergency clause.
Move the emergency clause be adopted.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second for the emergency clause. Call for the vote.
Carry 7-0.
And as usually the case, there is pending action while they have emergency clauses. The next item is the final plat for Phase 1 of Jacobs Crossing. Planning Commission reviewed this final plat, recommends approval. The title of the ordinance reads, an ordinance accepting the final plat of Phase 1 of Jacobs Crossing to the City of Springdale, Arkansas, declaring an emergency.
Move the ordinance be passed and approved.
Second.
We have a motion for approval for the item B. Is there any further discussion? Any comments from the audience? All right, call for the vote.
Carries 7-0.
Move the emergency clause be adopted.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for the emergency clause. Call for the vote.
Carries 7-0.
The next item on the agenda is the final plat for Phase 1 and 2 of Gray's Crossing. Planning Commission has reviewed this request and recommends approval. The title of the ordinance reads an ordinance accepting the final plat of Phase 1 and 2 of Gray's Crossing to the city of Springdale, Arkansas, and declaring an emergency.
Move the ordinance be adopted.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for this item. Is there any further discussion? Anybody from the audience need to comment on this? Okay, call for the vote.
Carries 7-0.
Move the emergency clause be adopted.
Second.
There's a motion and a second for the emergency clause. Call for the vote.
Carries 7-0.
The next item is a rezoning request for 6.3 acres located at 552 South 48th Street. The request is to rezone the property from A1 to C5. Planning Commission reviewed this request, recommends approval. The title of the ordinance read, an ordinance amending ordinance number 3307, the same being the zoning ordinance of the city of Springdale, Arkansas, and the plat pertaining thereto by rezoning certain lands from agricultural district A1 to thoroughfare commercial district C5 within Springdale, Arkansas, and declaring an emergency.
We have any opposition on this one in Planning Commission?
No, I don't think so.
Is there other C5 near
C5
that?
across the street on the
See
other
that
side. There's some C5 to the south of it. C2, backs up to C2 on the west side as well.
Move the ordinance be adopted.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for this ordinance. Any further discussion? Anybody in the audience? All right, this is a call for the vote.
I think they got the wrong item up there for the vote.
Okay, you got to back up to the rezoning, guys. There was supposed to be that one right there. There we go. Well, we'll have a final plat for it next. Right now, we have the rezoning to rezone it from A1 to C5, and then the next one will be to a final plat to split it into two lots. So you got to rezone it first.
There wasn't a photograph on the rezoning, Patsy. I guess
Well,
there was one with the replat, or the final plat.
okay, it was
it's the
all
same-
taken to Planning Commission as one item on the agenda that we did the rezoning, and then we did the preliminary final plat together.
Okay,
And
so
so
it
that's
is
why
the same piece of property, though,
It's
that's
the
all.
same piece of property that's being rezoned, the entire tract to C5.
Okay.
Carries 7-0. Also has an emergency clause.
Move the emergency clause be adopted.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for the emergency clause. This will be a call for the vote.
Carries 7-0.
Okay, so the next item is to divide this 6.29 acre tract into 2 tracts. And the reason it has to be done with a preliminary and a final plat is that was part of a larger tract that's already been split once. So this is either the third or fourth split, and so they're doing it as a final plat. The Planning Commission recommends approval of this final plat. The title of the ordinance reads, an ordinance accepting the final plat of South 48th Street subdivision to the city of Springdale, Arkansas, and declaring an emergency. And you'll see the 5.25 acres has the necessary frontage for C5.
Move the ordinance be adopted.
Patsy, I've heard you say before, talking about a number of times something's been split. Can this one be split again ever in the future?
It would have to be replatted again, because it's been split enough times that there has to be a subdivision now. And if they want to split it again, it'll have to be a replat of those 2 lots into whatever else they want to do with it.
Thank you.
Otherwise, they have to come in with a large scale for each one if they develop something different on it.
That front 1 acre's C5 as well, though,
Right.
correct? Just-
The entire tract was rezoned to C5. It is now split into 2 tracts. Tract 1 is 1.04 acres, tract 2 is 5.25 acres.
Second.
We have a motion and a second on this ordinance. Is there any further discussion? Anybody from the audience? Call for the vote.
Carries 7-0.
Move the emergency clause be adopted.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for the emergency clause. Call for the vote.
Carries 7-0.
And the last item is a waiver request for sidewalk improvements in conjunction with a non-large scale at 1100 East Huntsville Road. The existing residential structure is being converted to a commercial use. They asked for a waiver of subdivision requirements. On Huntsville, they would be required to take out the existing sidewalk and to widen it to new Master Street Plan standards. The Planning Commission recommends denial of the waiver. The title of the ordinance reads, or the resolution reads, a resolution approving a waiver of street improvements, drainage, curbs, gutters, sidewalks, and streetlights as set forth in ordinance number 3725 to 1100 East Huntsville Road in connection with N2524, a non-large-scale development. And they're expanding the size of the driveway, so there was a small amount of sidewalk on Sunset that would need to be removed. And they have to build sidewalks on the Curtis Street side because there's not any, so it wasn't, that's why the Planning Commission recommends denial of the. I'm sorry, it's Huntsville. I'm sorry.
Could you go, I apologize, would you mind
Okay.
going back over that one more
One
time,
more time, a
what
little
they're
slower.
asking for?
Okay. They are upgrading this or changing the use from a residential use to an office. With that, they are required to increase the size of the drive to meet a commercial driveway and to build parking on the east side. There are no sidewalks on the Curtis Street side, and they would be required to build that sidewalk, and they were willing to do that. But when you come around the corner onto Huntsville, they have a small area because they have to take a portion of it out to fit the new driveway. So the Planning Commission thought it was a good time to go ahead and get the sidewalk widened out to the standard that we have now for that street classification. So the Planning Commission recommends denial of the waiver request.
So there's a sidewalk there now, but they're.
Right, but it's not wide enough.
And what are those widths?
I think it's 5, and it needs to go to at least 8, if not 10. And then the one on Curtis would be just a standard sidewalk, but that is an arterial street. And if you go on down, further down, we did, as we were upgrading Huntsville, increase the size of the sidewalk. This was done before we had the standard for a wider sidewalk. And there are a lot of people that walk in this area getting to the Jones Center, getting to the trail system. So the Planning Commission recommends that the waiver be denied, and they be required to put in the sidewalk or do payment in lieu of improvements for that portion of it.
Are there other 8-foot sidewalk sections on that road?
When you go further to the east, there are. There aren't any in this section that I'm aware of. But we haven't had a lot of new development since that development went in.
Say further to the east? on the other side of
Right.
265?
Right.
And what's the method of widening the sidewalk? Do they add to the,
They have to take it out and re-pour the whole thing.
they have to take it out and
Right.
re-pour?
Right.
Is the waiver just for the Huntsville part? And they're
Just for
willing
the
to do
Huntsville
Curtis
part, they're willing to do the Curtis, and they got to come around the corner and redo the handicap ramps and the truncated domes. So you're around the corner with those connections, and if you look at the distance between the driveway and the edge, that corner, it's not a big piece to pull out, and then they have a very small section on the other side of the driveway. The driveway itself will have to have the wider sidewalk through it as well, so it just makes it all work together. And they are changing the use of the property. It's not a single-family home anymore. It will be an office that functions as a commercial function.
So are they going to put a sidewalk around on Curtis Street too?
Yes,
And they know that?
yes, they know that. It'll just be a standard, because it's a local street. Yeah, it's just a standard local street sidewalk. When you get out to collector and arterial streets, the master street plan standards calls for wider streets because there's more traffic and it moves faster. So you put it a little bit wider area for people to walk on there. And then we have a lot of people walking along that street going to and from the Jones Center, to Tyson's to work, to come downtown. There's lots of things in that area for people to walk with. As we get new development or changes in use, we get the sidewalk upgraded.
Does it have anything to do with the green space? Will they have to go wider with the wider walk?
I think, and I can't answer that because we look at a lot of projects, I can't remember, but I think they can get it all in the existing right-of-way. Do not have to acquire more, and it may make the green space smaller. I don't know how much green space there is there between the sidewalk and the curb.
And they haven't talked about any payment in lieu.
They asked for the waiver. They asked for the planning commission to make the recommendation based on the waiver itself.
What's the planning commission's action?
Planning commission, by a vote of 6-1, recommend that the waiver request be denied. That's their
Is
recommendation.
the property owner here?
Yep. She's here.
Yeah,
You wanna
I would
talk
love
about
to
it?
hear from her.
Okay. Keep in mind, cost is not a hardship.
Could you state your name and address for the record, please?
Yes, my name is Erica Forrest, and my current address is 511 Southeast Fullerton, and the address that we're speaking about is 1100 East Huntsville. The recommendation, or I guess from us, is that you waive the request to build a new sidewalk, since the current sidewalk is actually 8 foot, according to my surveyor, who has a full survey on this. The recommendation is for us to extend it to 9 foot, so add 1 foot when the sidewalk is perfectly functioning. In order to restructure the whole thing, I mean, it's really going to keep me from developing this property and adding, it would actually go into the greenery, which would be the property, to add that additional foot.
Do you have a survey that shows that your surveyor measured it 8 feet?
I do have it, and I don't have it with me, but I can actually send it over. They were here in the last meeting, and I assume
Did you
that-
bring up that issue at the planning commission and
Yes.
showed them the survey that it was 8 foot?
I assume they did. I was not here in the last meeting, but that's what the information was fed to me, is that we were recommending to add 1 foot and to redo the sidewalk, not to add that additional foot to the existing sidewalk. I drove all the way up here down Huntsville Avenue, which is a pretty long business, commercial street, and the sidewalks at the beginning of Huntsville, and mind you, I'm in a corner at the end, are all smaller. They seem to be about 5 foot. Mine would be the only one down Huntsville Avenue that would be 9 foot, including come and go that's at the corner of where I'm at.
Do you have any photographs or any kind of,
I do.
The letter that was submitted for the waiver request from the engineer indicates that there's a 7-foot sidewalk along that side.
And 9 foot is what's recommended?
Actually, 10.
mentioned 8 and 10 a while ago. How do you decide between 8 and 10?
The master street plan indicates the width of the sidewalk. I can go look that up and see what it says, if you want me to see which one it's supposed to be. Ben's not here. He usually does that. I don't. I can go look it up on the master street plan if you give me a minute. Okay?
Miss, name again?
My name is Erica Forrest.
Did you hear her say that she thought that maybe it was 7 foot?
I did.
Do you think that's accurate?
So I checked in with my builder right before I came in here. He looked at the survey that our engineer did, and he said it was 8 foot. And so the addition would just be 1 foot that would need to be added for me to meet that 9-foot requirement per the last meeting.
What, was that stated at the planning commission meeting also?
Sorry?
Was that stated at the planning commission meeting also?
That is
there
what
would
was
just
stated
be
to my
1
surveyor.
foot additional would be added?
Yes, sir. And this is Bates Engineering, who I work with, who's very familiar with Bates.
I'm sorry, can you say it again?
Bates Engineering. That is who I'm working with.
Well, the letter I have is, that was asking for the waiver says it's 7.
Okay,
So I was, and it's from Bates as well, so.
okay.
If you want to table this, we'll get into those issues and bring it back next time. Haven't found the master street plan yet.
I'll make a motion that we table this to the next
Okay.
council meeting.
Second.
If you'll make sure we get the survey,
Absolutely.
because I don't have it, because I'm just going on what the letter from the engineer says.
Ma'am, it would probably be good if you could provide that to our planning office before the next meeting so that they could check that out to confirm it one way or the other. It would have been nice to have had that information tonight. But if you could provide that to planning before the next meeting, that way everybody kind of be on the same page. Thank you.
So the motion would be to table it to the next council meeting, which is November 26, 2 weeks from tonight.
And we have a motion and a second? Okay, we have a motion and a second to table this to the next council meeting, which will be on the 26th. Is there any further discussion from the council? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Oh, we need to vote on this one? Okay. On tables, we vote on table?
I can call it.
Okay, call for the vote.
Are they doing it?
The minutes will reflect this is a vote to table.
You want me
Right.
to call it? Okay.
But no, they're
Oh,
They're
doing it.
voting.
Okay.
we'll just change it on the minutes.
So that we know what it is.
So this vote we're taking now is going to reflect that this is to be tabled, not what it's
Correct.
showed on.
Correct. City clerk is making that notation for the minutes. Yeah, tabled 7-0.
All right, so we're done with that. Next, we're going to move on to item 8, which is the Finance Committee, and Chairwoman Amelia Taldo.
Actually, I'm going to take this over since we did it last week in committee. I'm going to go ahead and open up the Finance Committee with the first resolution is authorizing the purchase of 2 snowplows. And for the Public Works Department, a waiver of competitive bidding and other purposes presented by James Smith, Department Director.
Hi, James. Will these snowplows go over the infamous, what do you call those? The speed bumps? No?
No, anything go over those will rip them out of the asphalt.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
So take out reflective markers too, then.
That as well.
I move the resolution pass.
Second.
Hey, James, remind me, we have turnback funds that's different from unrestricted general fund. Isn't that true?
Correct.
And sometimes we have purchased equipment from the turnback funds, which we always pay for blacktop, paving, and sidewalks and things like that. But sometimes we also use it for equipment, correct?
Correct.
Is there some reason why we are not doing that this time?
Not that I'm aware of.
Because maybe we don't have the turnback funds, or I'm just
Well,
wondering why it's coming out of unrestricted general fund instead of turnback.
I think, Anna may correct me if I'm wrong, I think it might be because if these snowplows were previously approved for purchase in 2022, the purchase didn't happen and we were either refunded the money or didn't actually spend the money. So I think
Yes.
that's why they did it the same way this time.
Yes, so council approved a resolution in November of '22 to purchase snowplows out of the unrestricted general fund. We have been reimbursed the $401,000, so we are going to apply that $401,000 back to this purchase with an additional $91,000 out of the unrestricted general fund.
Are we looking to purchase from the same company that did not deliver the first time?
No.
Any other comments? Council, public? All right, we have a motion and a second. Call for the vote.
Carries 7-0.
Okay, moving on to B, a resolution authorizing expenditure of funds to acquire property from Brandon England and Lacey England for the Jean George Boulevard extension, presented by Ernest Cate, City Attorney.
Thank you. This is authorizing an additional $60,700 in compensation for this particular tract of property. This is a full taking that will result in a displacement of the property owner. It would make the city's compensation go from $513,000 to $573,700, which is based on a penny to market value obtained by the property owner, and it was forward recommendation with recommendation for approval.
Move resolution be adopted. Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the resolution. Any further discussion from council? Anybody from the audience? Be a call for the vote.
Carries 7-0.
It just seems confusing when it's not the mayor doing this, so I thought you were taking back over. All right, so resolution authorizing execution of construction contract for the Springdale Public Library expansion project, presented by Ann Grisham.
Good evening. This is for an addition to our facility that will be an event space primarily used for library programming and public meeting space. This project will be funded entirely by ARPA funds, which do need to be allocated by the end, or spoken for by the end of the year. And I'm happy to answer any questions you might have. Milestone and Hite Jackson are here as well.
I make a motion to forward I make a motion the resolution pass.
Can you remind us what that project is again?
Yes, so we have an outdoor courtyard space currently. This project will enclose that. It'll add about 2,500 square feet of working space to our facility. Our largest meeting room right now is 1,234 square feet, so it's a pretty big upgrade for us.
Does there change any of the entry?
No, this space will have two entrances, and we would be able to open it after hours if we chose, if we had an event that needed to go past library operations. But it won't affect our front entrance. And we did check that we had sufficient parking for it as well.
Any further discussion? We have a motion and a second to approve. Any comments from the public? All right, we'll call for the vote.
Carries 7-0.
All right, now we're to item 9, We had a resolution come before us for the Fire and Police Committee, and it's accepting a maximum guaranteed price for construction of Springdale Fire Department. Let me get to it real quick. Title of this resolution is a resolution accepting the guaranteed maximum price for the construction of Springdale Fire Station Number 4. And Anna is
Hi,
here to
Councilman.
present if there's any questions.
Yes, if you guys have any questions, the contract before you is a guaranteed maximum price of $5,090,483.50. And this is for the construction of Fire Station 4. We also have Milestone, Mike Davis from Milestone here in case you have any questions. We also have Chief Holt.
And I have a question. Is it typical to word it like this, maximum or guaranteed maximum? I just don't recall seeing that in the past.
Yeah, so there's a few different contracts that these construction managers create. This one is simply stating it will not be any more than the price listed on the paper. So it will not exceed that 5 million price mark.
Okay, thank you.
Move resolution be adopted.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Anybody from the audience? This will be a call for the vote.
Carries 7-0.
Okay, thank you. We're to item 10, and I'll turn this over to our city attorney.
Thank you, Mr. Powell. In the packet, page 101, red page 101, is an ordinance establishing and setting rates for sanitary sewer service, repealing ordinance 5429 and pertaining to other matters relating thereto. Before this council can take action on that ordinance, the state statute requires that a public hearing be held. And so item number 10 in the packet is a resolution setting a public hearing date pursuant to Arkansas Code annotated 14-235-223 on a proposed ordinance establishing and setting rates for sanitary sewer service in the city of Springdale, Arkansas. That would set the public hearing for the next council meeting, November 26, 2024. City clerk will, by statute, publish notice one time about the public hearing at least 10 days before the date for the public hearing. And it's kind of an anomaly in the state statutes that you have to do this for the sewer rates, but you don't have to do this for the water rates. So that's the purpose of the resolution. It's just to set the public hearing at the November 26th council meeting. At that time, we will bring the ordinances forward as well that have been discussed at committee. Scenario 2C, I believe it's called.
Did you read the title already, Ernest?
I believe so.
So, and we're for sure having council on the 26th of Thanksgiving week.
Yes.
Yeah.
Move the resolution be adopted.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for this resolution. Any further discussion from council? Anybody from the audience? All right, this will be a call for the vote.
Carries 7-0.
Next is item 11, our city attorney.
Thank you. This one falls under the category of no good deed goes unpunished. This is a resolution amending resolution number 132-24 to levy Benton County ad valorem taxes of the city of Springdale, Arkansas. This council back on September 25th passed a resolution, as we do every year, setting the ad valorem taxes for both Washington County and Benton County. We were informed after that there was a rollback for Benton County, so this resolution replaces the resolution that was passed on September 5th to roll back. We did the same thing last year with Washington County, if you remember. We passed a resolution, then had to come back because they did a rollback. This year it's Benton County, so that's why it's on the agenda. I think I read the title.
Why were we passing these in September? Normally, we used to do them like in December.
No, they need it by November.
Oh, they need them by November?
Yeah.
Okay.
And in the city clerk's defense, she did ask if there was going to be a rollback and was told there was not going to be, and then
I
after.
move the resolution be adopted.
We have a motion and a second for this resolution. Any further discussion? Anybody from the audience? Let's call for the vote.
Carries 7-0.
And our city attorney has item 12.
Thank you. Last item is an ordinance authorizing the city clerk to file a cleanup lien for the removal of overgrown brush and debris on property located within the city of Springdale, Arkansas, and declaring an emergency. This is property located at 777 White Road.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for this ordinance. Any further discussion? Anybody from the audience need to speak on this? All right, let's call for the vote.
Carries 7-0.
Move the
Doug?
emergency clause be adopted.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for the emergency clause. Call for the vote.
Carries 7-0.
All right. Any comments from department heads? Any council members? City attorney?
No, sir.
Can anybody be Mike Overton?
So moved.
We are adjourned.